guys, welcome back to Wannaga Racing. Today we're getting back on the Panzerwagen here. Where we left off, it was leaking coolant from the oil filter housing, which is on the front of the block behind the radiator support there. Looks a lot like this. Where we're suspecting it was leaking from is right here. I don't think the O-ring sat properly or something is going on here, and we just decided to completely get a new one. We'll have to take off the adapter for the plate, just put the plate back on this one. We also found an oil leak coming from the camshaft adjuster, which is on the side of the head. So all this should be pretty simple. And hopefully this thing gets back on the road today, because I am looking forward to driving it with this Stage 3 tune. First thing I need to do is start draining coolant. I'm going to put a pan underneath the radiators and just disconnect the hoses here, and then let it drain out, and then disconnect the external oil cooler, and this whole support comes off, just like it did when we first took it off. And then I'm going to tackle the oil filter housing again, which is inside there. Well, I'm glad to see we got that primed when we were cranking it. Now everything is disconnected, and I still need to take off the bracket for the lines that go this way, but we can take everything off now. Alright, so now we're down to the oil cooler assembly, which is this unit right here. I'm going to take off all these lines again, get everything out of the way, and then it's only 5 bolts that hold that on. And then I'll get on the table, change this over to the new one, and put the new one back on. Got the oil cooler assembly off. Now I have to take off the plate for the external oil cooler, and then take off this whole thing here, and then just swap this over. Should be pretty simple, and then just put this new one on. I don't know if you can tell, but it looked like it started leaking from right here already. It's just puddling up coolant from this area right here. So I don't know if threads were messed up from taking the old one out, whatever the case. I'm gonna make sure this new one is put back together correctly, and we can send this car on the road. Alright guys, got the plate on the new assembly, and now I just need to put this on the car, and we'll do the startup again and see if there's any leaks. Hopefully there's none this time, and we can get this thing on the road. So right now I'm going to clean up the surfaces on the block, and then just put everything back together, reverse order of what I did right now, and I'll bring you back once I'm getting closer to being finally completed. I'm just about to torque down the oil cooler assembly, and it goes in steps, 20 Newton meters and then 90 degrees turn for each bolt. There's only 5 and it doesn't take a whole lot of torque. The upper plate here per Volkswagen says cannot be separated, so I didn't get any torque specs on that. I just made sure it was down good and tight, and we'll see what happens when I get this thing running here in a minute. Alright, so I got the radiator support on. I'm starting to add coolant into the system. I don't see any visible leaks just yet. I'm gonna prime the oil cooler and all that again, and then I'm gonna start it and see what happens with these leaks. Grabbed my handy dandy OBD11. I'm gonna plug these injectors back in, and then we'll get inside, clear all the codes, and then start it up and inspect for any more leaks. Well, we still have a coolant leak. Yay. From what it looks like on the block is it's coming from right here, which doesn't make sense for coolant because this is for oil here. Everything else around this is dry besides this part. So right now I'm kind of stuck. I'm gonna tighten down everything on the filter housing again, just double check all that, and then I'm gonna start it up again and watch for more leaks. This car is kind of getting out of hand now. I don't know why it's being such a pain, but it is, and I gotta get it done. So I'm gonna play around with it some more, and then I'll bring it back shortly. Well, it's holding coolant. There's a oil cooler installed. You know, never in my life has a car defeated me as much as this here. I ended up putting the stock oil cooler back on. This one just continued to leak. I took it off again, retimed everything, it was still leaking. You know, I just got tired of messing with this today, and the rest of the week I just don't have time to play with this car. So I put the stock oil cooler back on. I'm going to start it up here in a minute, make sure it's actually still holding coolant, and then I'm just going to put this all back together, and we'll go for a test drive. Alright guys, it's been another long day on this car here, the Panzerwagen. As you can tell, it's all back together. And I'm gonna go for the first test drive with this Stage 3 tune. Well, first test drive was successful. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Hayden is ready for how much fun this car is now. It was already an awesome car, but it drives like something else now. So that's it for today. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more.